30 poets, 30 poems, outdoor voices in an indoor world, Volume 11.
Hija de la gran puta. Hija de la gran puta. Translation, daughter of the greatest bitch. Sorry, kids. This is the term of endearment passed down from my mother and her mother, offered up like a herringbone, like it was sworn in the pages of a familial holy book. When I was a little puta, I mean girl, I mean too young to know the difference, I thought it all one long word, a necronomicon of sorts that would conjure a bitch queen mother from the potholes on our street, a wild-haired temptress with patent-heeled paws, a lipstick shade as dark as the fourth day's blood, and a mole painted right above her dark, waiting mouth. What I've always wanted to know is, who is this great bitch, most high bitch, God bitch? What of myself would I see echoed in the negative of her eyes? And if she were to meet death unwelcomed, like all the bitches that I love do, will I then be called to ascend the throne, be cast unto the darkest side of the moon only to return when bitches of a particular kind of wicked summon me? Or, if I am someday called to sit at the paws of Mami Puta, will she lovingly encourage my insolent nature, mother me the way mortal mothers never could? What I do know is, if there were ever a legacy to live towards, this I would consider the most fitting. Thank you.
That last poem I did, that's the first poem I wrote where I started to notice that a lot of my poems are about these cycles, right? The cyclical nature of like our consumption of Black death. How it's always seeming to come back. Someone dies, there's this outrage. Someone dies, there's this outrage. Someone dies, there's this outrage. And I think it's really interesting because like history really does repeat itself. It's almost as certain as like the water cycle. You know what I mean? Like history repeats itself like water, and water repeats itself like history. See, we learn in school that water holds on to a distant past, that we may be drinking the same water from decades or even centuries ago. Meaning the water raining down on us today could be the same water that left so many people without a place to go after Katrina. Could be the same water in the rivers the Underground Railroad followed to freedom. The same water in the rivers the Negro speaks of. The same water we wash our curls in. The same water we wade in, that God troubled. Could be the same water left rusted and indigestible in Flint's pipes. Could be the same water they found Emmett Till in. The water in the hoses they sprayed us with could be the same water that caught us when we jumped ship and held us tight until nothing hurt anymore, and buried us where no one could find us again. This dirty water, this muddy water, bloody water, guilty water, filthy water. Water repeats itself like history. History repeats itself like water. We learn in school that history holds on to a distant past, that we're living the same history from decades or even centuries ago, meaning the history raining down on us today is the same history that left so many people without a place to go after Katrina. It's the same history in the rivers the Underground Railroad followed to freedom. The same history in the rivers the Negro speaks of. The same history we wash our curls in. The same history we wade in, that God troubled. The same history left rusted and indigestible in Flint's pipes. The same history they found Emmett Till in. The history in the hoses they sprayed us with is the same history that caught us where we jumped ship and held us tight until nothing hurt anymore, and buried us where no one could find us again. This dirty history, this muddy history, this bloody history, guilty history, filthy history. History repeats itself like water. Water repeats itself like history. History in water, water in history. History is water. Water flows through history. Learning your history is just as important as drinking water.
In 2012, Disney released a line of villain dolls depicting Ursula, the classically full-figured sea witch from The Little Mermaid, as a designer couture, size 0. From one rolling midsection and tameless will to another, my sweet Ursula, I cannot imagine the sick flip of your stomach to see your image dissected, chin shaved, waist cinched, your silhouette robbed of every ounce of delicious curve. To find, after 2 decades of existence, that your evil was more worthy of preservation than the iconic body that held you. You, big lady, were the only Disney character who ever looked like me. And while you may not have had the waistline of a princess, I'll be goddamned if you didn't have the swagger of a queen. The way you sashayed around your lair in full makeup, black flamenco number cut so low in the back that your every twist and shimmy displayed the gorgeous tuck of your rolls. You made back fat look fucking sexy. You made living in this body a little less like a curse. I wonder how they told you. Did they sit you down over tea, delicately frosted cakes lining your chipped porcelain, explain it as a marketing technique, a vehicle to make you more palatable to a culture that demands perfection? I hope you crushed the fucking teapot in the clench of your fist. I hope you grew 1,000 feet tall and drowned them in the whirlpool of your rage. I wish I could have watched you suck the voices from their tiny, breakable throats. But I know you wept. I know you licked the icing from each and every cake. I know you broke like a slow burn. Wasn't it enough that they made you a witch? That you were already beyond the bounds of their franchise royalty. They expected little girls to recoil from the wicked inside your laugh, when instead they worshipped your honesty. Ursula, I don't want you cut down into bite-sized pieces. You weren't easy to swallow for a reason. I want you larger than life, flaming red lips, black flamenco dress. I want the thick of your tentacles, your conjurer's hands, the jiggle of your ample bust. I want you dressed to the nines on a runway. I want every little girl to see a heroine in a size 24. Ursula, queen of the ocean, you were never just a witch to me. You were perfect. Every pound, every inch, every swell, perfect. And I pity the poor, unfortunate soul who would dare paint you as anything less.
She is hurricane, thunderstorms, lightning bolts to strike is nice. She is magic, wrapped up in dark skin, St. Clair in her hair, cleaving in her blood. There is some congestion, yet veins spew miraculous love. How powerful. Description, heavenly melon, heaven sent, craving every part I already know, the ones I don't, hoping I still get a chance to. She is too magnetic, a piece of perfection, a testimony to God's perfect vision, a dream come true. I once knew I had found a treasure when she agreed to pray for my safety daily. Our skin tones match. Our battles be something of the same. Our stories be filled with family. Lack of holes filled in our lives. Unfortunately, got stuck with some pain, but she smiles from time to time. Totally overwhelmed with excitement, I run and confess to my friends. Each one of those times, hey, I finally know what God looks like. And it's a she, and she's beautiful. She prays, she's protective. She should be more protected, so I'm careful. Because I've seen and I know that she also cries, waters the earth, and for me and our love she has cried. And she also sometimes says the right thing at the wrong time. So I guess it's the right time to be wrong with her, and it's okay. I never know how to tell her she's anything but perfect. What I want her to be, because all I do is speak truth. So I take back all that stuff about God don't like me and he can't hear, he's not answering prayers. I mean, there had to be something special about me for him to create a creature so magnificent. And just to think, it took me a whole 41 years to find you. I must have been blinded, but seeing clearly now has allowed only this version of God in my vision.
There's something about the way white people gentrify Martin Luther King's speeches by pretending to be moved by them, then try to move out people who live on streets named after him. Or the way they regurgitate his words and spit back at the very people they were spoken for. Funny how Martin Luther King is now spoken for. How white people always tell you what he would condemn, like he didn't condemn white people speaking for black people in the first place. Or how they so easily forget the reason he has nothing more to say. There's something about the way his dreams get misinterpreted, get taken out of context, how his fear of integrating his people into a burning building came to fruition. How his grit gets needlessly forgiven, how they didn't listen to all of his words. Like when he said riots are the language of the unheard, rioting and looting always get lauded in history books and coded in forgiveness when it's white kids upset about sporting events. There's something about the way a nation forgets that its founding fathers didn't really find anything, but didn't remember how their fathers found him detestable and authored revisionist history books that have got myopia written all through them, that have gotten bad words like slave erased by white guilt and replaced with black assistants. Crazy how black assistants and servants wanting to serve their own interest unsettled a country built on independence. There's something about the way he gets remembered and forgotten in the same sentence, like somehow MLK soothed their spirits. Like his 30 arrests were just misunderstandings. Like his wiretaps were just miscommunication. Like the calls to his wife were just congratulations. Like the bullets to his chest were just a mark of martyrdom. Respectability politics still leaves blood on business suits, still leaves them trying to whitewash his blood off their hands and off their history. Or the way they forget that the bridges he marched on and the crosses gifted to him were burning. Long weekends always make you forget, and holidays always turn sins holy. There's something about the way a government forgets to celebrate his birthday in January or any other month or year or decade of his life, or how they try to put revolutions in a box after they put revolutionaries in a box. Sending a misquote in his image to attempt to silence protesters feels like shipping a mangled body back home over enemy lines, or feels like a gentrifier trying to give you a tour of your own neighborhood, or feels like fire hoses that still drown people after they've been shut off. There's something about the way they use his name to try to silence the fire in your breath. There's something about the way white people ask you to be just like someone who was shot to death.
These two lost seabirds floating over marsh and vale defy the playground swing sets that call after them. The river is too high, darling, too high today, too high for a 10 or a 15-year song. But they're too busy fighting giants and stacking river stones into pious little gnomes and collections of parables. They carefully pick their steps along the prayer chain, climbing embankments and carrying a little bit of river in their shoes. And I've always liked to keep a little bit of river in my own shoes. There's nothing more to worry about, not here between the rusted smokestack lullabies and the confined almond groves. Nothing but the next step, waiting for the apples to fall, although they never do. They turn around at number 5, tracking mud and pipes and drums into the shrine, leaving ears of corn on the altar and watching a silver lady in the field, her head pulled back, facing the stars.
Google, how do I care for a boyfriend? Do they come with tags on the insides of their t-shirts that say how much water and sunlight they need? Do I have to talk nicely to them like my houseplants? And oh my God, what do they eat? How often? Is it better to pick one in spring or in fall? How do I test for ripeness? Do I tap his belly like a watermelon and listen for the hollow? If mine has not reached maturity, can I set him on the sunny windowsill with my tomatoes until he's ready? Is there a boyfriend hunting season? Do I need a license or a permit? Do we keep them indoors, or is it more humane to let them be free range? And how does one keep a free range boyfriend from wandering in through the neighbor's back door? Do you know how pissed I'll be if I put all this effort into a boyfriend and he shacks up at the neighbor's? I already know not to get them wet after midnight. That's how you make gremlins. Those do not come housebroken. And I don't want to end up in jail for parental neglect when little Stripe burns the fucking city down. So maybe I'll just stay single. I think it's safer that way.
This is St. Bride. The embankment, down from Waterloo, where many skyline spires include St. Bride's own bell-stopped spike of stone, beneath which I could smoke a fag, take coffee breaks on afternoons, escape Grey Fleet Street's drag, oh, many years ago. Another churchyard that I knew, St. Giles in the Fields. After long hours on the phone, Richard, fresh from Amsterdam, Brighton radio, regaled the bums with drinking songs, and a regular charm alarmed them all. I watched his corduroys, flight bag through the scrawny summer rose, heard his voice so rich, knew his look so well when he moved in on the drunks. One came up to me and said, "That guy you know is fucking nuts." I know. Too many friends I've left behind. Today I'm lost by monument. Winter's come. New renovations puzzle me. From Waterloo East, then all around the haunted stones of London town, their dismal symmetry.
Ever since the age of 10, I've been able to pick locks. It's a weird skill to have, but I still remember the day I learned how to break into my house in under 30 seconds. My dad came home from a computer fair of all places with a lockpick kit in a black leather wallet. In it was a filed down Allen key called a torque wrench and a lumpy metal stick called a bump pick. The trick is to apply torsion to the tumbler whilst raking the pins on the inside, then turn and click. Scarily easy, really, as easy as a memory, if memories were easy. The good ones that we had were so few and far between. Like when I was 3, my first time at the beach, you and Mum were play fighting in the sea and I had no idea who you were. I thought a stranger was attacking my mother. My cries formed sound castles with tear duct moats, and like the ocean bleaches driftwood in reverse, you found your first place in my mind. Stormbringer, bearer of the belt buckle, giver of the something to cry about. When you headbutted me to the floor, there was no more water stored. It was shock flooding from my eyes. When you tried to choke me out, I stared you down and waited for the calm. 10 years later, and I am still waiting. I have shelved my expectations along with childhood knickknacks, breakup letters from ex-girlfriends in the hope that we could both be better men. The rage that pumped in your fists now flows in my veins. My heart punches at the world like the street fights of a teenage you. Misspent youth, all blood and dirt and grit and get up again. They can't beat it out of you. You can't beat it out of me. A fortress stands here now, proud that I stared down the barrel of your gun and saw a man as weak as me, trying to prove the nothingness underneath. It's no surprise we came up as empty as the homes we'd leave. I can count them on both our hands, just. Stacked boxes and empty rooms covered in dust and us. fish and chips on the floor, waiting for one more removals van to take us to the new house that we followed you to. I have always followed you from pillar to post, from bottle to battle. At the time we beat the guy, black and blue, that bottled you in that bar fight, and despite the nerve now trapped in your cheek, we smiled about it for weeks. Like, it was proof this blood runs deep. Like, one shared deed could erase the years I'd spent painting monsters into you. Truth is, I didn't need to. You had monsters of your own stitched into your panorama over 40 hours on Goose Green and every battle since. I wish I'd done more to see the no man's land growing between us, pockmarked with angry words that yearned to be poppy fields and olive branches. So here it is, my confession. I've never been the perfect son. A bruised mess made in your image, you know, a next little smudge of forgiveness. I came here to hold bridges and burn grudges. Got my own home now, and I know you can pick the locks because you taught me how, but call me. Let's say sorry and you can have the spare key.
Good morning, beautiful. That moment when you wake up, voice still raspy from sleep. When the birds outside are still arguing with the trees, and the rain from last night's storm is still wrestling with the leaves. Good morning, beautiful. That moment of still calmness that tickles your toes, crawls up to your knees and gives you a little nudge on your nose. Good morning, beautiful. Oh, how those words leave our lips so elegantly. Oh, how they pull us in warm, oh, so pleasantly. Oh, how they wash away our evening sins as we say our morning prayers, asking the Lord to forgive them. Good morning, beautiful.
Lady Justice is one of the long-missing Indigenous women. Her face won't be on a milk carton or on a viral Facebook post. She was a powerful black woman known as Mayat and Isis and Kalaratri. She was stolen from the land, and in her place the Greeks offered Dike and Themis, whose face was far more pale. But even she was stolen away. When one day Emperor Augustus crowned Justita as the new justice, she was not allowed in public. No, not while Rome set about conquering the whole world. Rape, murder, and pillage could not be condoned by justice, so they made her mute. That was not enough. Britain, too, could not abide with justice. Though mute, she found ways to break the silence. There's always a way with the heart. So they blindfolded her, that she could not see the blood covering the white hands of her captors. Once the New World became America, they had no need for justice at all. Even through the blindfold, she could see the genocide and desecration, the screams, cries, prayers could not escape her ears. She lifted her sword in fury and has not been seen since. Oh sure, America made little statuettes of a very white, very placid woman holding scales, trinkets to remind them of their cleverness, and to remind the poor and melon people of the world that justice is now stone and lifeless. Somewhere in South Dakota, as the sun sets upon the grassy plains, justice lies in a shallow, unmarked grave. As the New World dances in drunken revelry, thinking they had seen the last of Our Lady, a tsunami rises from the deep. A scream wells up, shaking the crust of the land. A fire of rage sparks in the Oregon forest. For justice had many daughters. They knew the names of Mayat, Isis, and Kalaratri. Their swords have been sharpened by the pain of centuries, and they are not silent, nor porcelain, nor blindfolded.
I fell in love today. Hard, recklessly. Kneecaps cracking against the cement, splitting skin to spill stored up scarlet songs that pump the food of love because music be the food of love. Play on. The show must go on. Strum my bare and bloody ribcage with the intensity of a Spanish stick. Shatter my eardrums with your operatic overtones and blaring, booming bass. Blow putrid, poisonous, and painful symphonies over me. Engulf me in your state of musical euphoria. Dance your fingertips across my major and minor organs. Drum hard. Damage my heart, because if music be the food of love, play on. I fell in love today, and fell, and fell, and fell, and fell, piercing even the most tempestuous of storm clouds, hurtling towards a most certain end, head first, whizzing past the most massive mountains towards the greenest grass, wondering whether my soul, spirit, skull, or skin would be the first to be freed from this frightening free fall until you caught me, carried me to safety. I fell in love today. Sun peeking around the corners of the curtains, tiptoeing across the room to visit your slumbering face. And whether it be strange or sweet, it's true. I watch you when you sleep. Mind working tirelessly to figure out how to make you look and feel as peaceful as you do when you sleep. You rise higher than that sneaking sun to start your day as I roll over to inhale your grace and realize that I fell in love today. Softly. Descended silently into a world of wonder where walking no longer exists. Hovering slightly over a sea of honorably discharged hearts beneath my feet, propelling myself across the water to you. Beautiful you. Bountifully blessed you. You. Fell in love today.
Since I crashed in this land of hope, honey, and sails, the candles of sweet decline, from the dying glaciers heating a miner's chest, I can't clean this hand of dope, money, and nails, laying miners to rest. Thank you.
What if life ended at this very moment? Me in the middle of reciting this piece, you in the middle of listening. Life as we know it will end, possibly in the blink of an eye. And in that moment, we won't think about how many hours of overtime we worked or missed, or what day the car note is due, or who did who during the last installment of the Unreal House basketball, hip to the hop wives of whatever city comes to mind. I believe in that moment, we review all the love we've had, lost, found, and discarded. We wish we had hugged more and argued less. Stop to watch and wonder at the natural beauty of sunsets and moon rises. And maybe we wonder, have we prepared our loved ones for this day that we all knew would come? What if this was the moment of our very last breath? Would we be missed? Who would we miss? Have you made a positive impact on the world? Do you think you'll be remembered for the red bottom heels that you wear? How clean your luxury car was kept? Or will you actually leave something that can't be erased, rusted through, or repossessed? How many smiles have you given or caused? How much encouragement have you poured out onto others? How many lives have you touched in a positive way? What if we took our very last breath at this moment? Would it matter?
And mothers have puffy eyes, limbs loose, clutching dead bodies. Their child, a person that was carried and released, cold dead bodies. Their once toddler that ate first foods, now lifeless on a slab. Mothers are stressed and losing hair, mourning dead bodies, losing smiles and lives. Mothers give up their spirit, praise obituaries and religion, weeping for dead bodies. Their children laid out in the streets of this wilderness, a breeding ground for made-up faces, grim etchings, and dead bodies. Police killings, children killings, sibling killings, stranger killings, gas station killings, parking lot killings, beach killings, dead bodies. Serial killings, calculated killings, war killings, dumb criminal killings, suicide killings, blackout killings, oops, I ain't mean it killings, dead bodies. The garbage on soaking streets are the cemetery for the slain. Telephone poles and trees, house flowers and balloons, blood of dead bodies. And the repetition does not end because the cycle of dying and decomposing continues. Dead bodies are what fuels the nation and the world. We can look at world hunger and infant dead bodies, starving and straggling, the made-up wars and fights amongst nations for money, no celebrations for life, only dead bodies, used on television as promise of hope and change. And the killings are in the form of diet and pork and processed food clogs dead bodies, walking to a demise they stuff in their mouths as a 4 for 40 years. It becomes plaque, blocking nutrients that can't live amongst mucus. Dead bodies are animate objects named people, named working till death, named walking to the refrigerator, named balance the remote and a meal, named dead bodies. This is a list poem. Its intent is to list things. It is not to make you smile. This is a repeating phrase poem. People repeats, also dead bodies. This is a conjure. It's a spirit song to wail for the hearts that stopped feeling vitality, full of vigor. Then to a demise ascended to dead bodies. Life is morbid with bright lavender and coral blue hues. There are crimsons and blues. There are hums, dead bodies. There is rhythm in the song of death, a continuity of emotions we must learn where to place, a validity that we can miss and mourn dead bodies. Once mother, father, brother, sister, lover, friend, best friend, enemy, co-worker, cashier at the grocery store with a really nice smile, associates, dead bodies. The bus driver, the third grade teacher, the high school security guard, the college professor, the chemist, the historian, the librarian, the chef, dead bodies. The dope boys, the strippers, the hustlers, mobsters, mayors, presidents, small business owners, babies under 6 months, babies in the wombs, dead bodies. Him for the hymen that broke to give birth, to the hands that humbled with heart to rear the babies becoming adults, dead bodies. Becoming after life we never know. Can just live life like our grandmother's favorite hymn, humming. Low, slow growl, dead bodies. Connecting dots from my third eye to the young woman in Chicago. Don't know her, yet her and I have been both screamed into the arms of a loved one. Dead bodies. A young woman down the way that listens to music and wails. A rhythm in the song for the hymen that broke. Dead bodies. Unclenching the jaw of worry and doubt and letting go, giving way to the tower of healing and silence that accompanies the loss of dead bodies. There are names that I, Kisha, holder of hearts and grief, remember. Astral praise. I keep my spirit away from funerals in reverence of my loved ones gone, dead bodies.
Hi everyone, I'm Lennart Lundh, and my offering today comes to you from my 2022 chapbook, Poems Against Cancer. Returning. After an untitled self-portrait while seated before a mirror by Francesca Woodman. I'd forgotten this mirror, released so much, so past. But now I remember then, when I leaned my face against its other me, felt the smooth coolness, and cheekily asked you to join us for lunch. You tasted me so cautiously. And I'll long remember this now, when I clear away the dust and cobwebs, see an older self with you standing reflected behind me, reaching to stroke my bare nape as I reach back reflexively to stroke your wrist and arm. I feel only the smooth coldness.
Building. Why are grounded structures called stories high? Overlooking the cityscape, some tall, some short. Tall buildings, they call them skyscrapers. Short buildings, they call them landscapers. No, that's the ones who cultivate the grounds of these buildings, standing so very high, can't even be seen as I walk by. With my mind's eye, I comply to continue to dig and oil the soils that contain the waterfalls drained through the open orifice to the surface to be used again. A building, ing, means ongoing, never slowing, stacking and packing, backing and tackling other structures that struck her to defeat. Feet are made for walking. A mouth is made for talking. Concrete is made to step on and step on and step on. Solid on a build on to the top of toes, knees, shoulders, and head. Take in daily bread and not dread hearing stories of a construction of an organization in formation to withstand the battles of time, the fights of mind grasping, perception of depth, so high or so low. Rock bottom. See, that's the built-in charger of a no-brainer. I'm a landscaper.
I don't hit piñatas because I think, well, I'm a trash human being and I'm definitely going to hell. So what if I get there and my punishment for being said piece of shit is to be a piñata, where I hang loosely awaiting snotty overprivileged brats clearly appropriating other people's culture to beat the shit out of me, where after the damage forces my insides to burst open, spilling forth every secret I have ever had. They pick them up and read them aloud, laughing louder and louder and louder and louder, while I, dismembered, hang upon the string.
The Doxology. Schizophrenic Prayers, chapter 2, verse 19. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed tips are here on earth. Thy kingdom come, is your will being done? Because 19 babies lay in a Texas church, on earth as it is in heaven. No, wait, on earth as they return to heaven, return to sender, to the one who lends her or lends him. Life is but a vapor, how quickly lifeless bodies hit the ground like dew in the morning. Wait, and give us this day our daily lid through spines of teachers hovering, curling over children like flexi rods not produced from their wombs. Wait, give us this day they get their wings like butterflies out of cocoons. I wonder if they had daily bread that morning. Okay, and give us this day our daily bread, and forgive those who trespass against school property. Where was the security? There's no way I'm dropping my child off at a place of life and learning, only to pick them up and identify them at a place of death. How quickly caravans turn into processionals. Wait, I'm tripping. And give us this day our daily bread, and lead us not into temptation to point trigger fingers at who's to blame outside of Salvador Ramos. Yes, that's his name. I too have a speech impediment, but I don't shoot AR sediments, letting shells fly like gnats, ready and waiting to feast on warm-bodied flesh. Wait, and give us this day, okay, and lead us not into temptation. Oh, but deliver us from evil. Deliver us from evil spirits lurking in the crevices of mind that play God posed as semi-automatics. Charismatics. Republican ties and conventions of Democrats who can't decipher between NRAs, AKs, and school grades. Why is this even a discussion? Wait, deliver us from evil. Our babies more subordinate than a mass destruction. Why is this even a discussion? For thine? For thine is the kingdom and the power is what they felt 2 hours before. Their bodies hit the ground for the last time as they fell asleep on the floor. And give us this day our daily bread. And deliver us from evil. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver. Okay. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Amen. 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 2 women and 19 children. Thank you.
From farm to freezer. In my head, I try to walk with them. In my heart, I try to feel their fear. My feet and hands become hooves. I see my blooded body hung by a hook. I wanted for someone to save me. Tell them not to drain me. I yearned for someone to witness how they violated me and my sisters, how they turned my children into a blooded leg, dripping flesh, a leathery belt. I had been bought. I had been sold. I had been traded by crooks, rapists, murderers, all fine-looking gents, identified by names, not ear tags. I have a price tag. I am slapped with a barcode. They don't even call me an animal. They call me livestock. Once again, I am not I anymore. I am a painful death, stored in your freezer. Please walk with me, in your heart, in your head. From the farm to your freezer, from the kill floor to your table.
Hi, my name is Dasha Kelly Hamilton, and I am the Poet Laureate for the state of Wisconsin and for the city of Milwaukee. And I have a piece I'd like to share that speaks to this in-between that we've all been experiencing, albeit in different ways. It's an in-between being excited about being outside and not really being certain about all of this outsideness. It's in between being weary of these virtual spaces and accepting the options these virtual ideas have given us to be together. It's between understanding what you thought your work was and imagining what your new work could be, in between relationships, in between states of health, in between our knowing how the world is supposed to be, and our desires on how the world could be. So this piece is called Liminal. Waking, dreaming, tasting, sated, dawn, day. Narrowly between approximation and certainty. Following, leading, circling, cycling between I'm sorry, WYD. Between relinquish and resentment. Gasp, grasping, adjusting, settled, settling. Wanting, anticipating, figuring, knowing, between flash and passion, deciding, doing. Having a taste, buyer's remorse, bliss, shame, release. Familiarity, comfort, turned and spun, conditional, committed, between active and activated, data and denial, 1 millibreath between implicit and exercise, between sundown and end of day. Thank you.
Devoid of all creatures, simply nothing does move. Gone from nature's features, all the fauna I love. Not a bird to be seen alongside the track. Mammals that have been are not coming back. They've been shot near extinction. The gun lobby was there. Those men of distinction have thinned out moose and bear. So they now hunt in schools, in universities, and around town, and leave blood-soaked pools in which humans do drown.
Snake Eyes, Blowtorch, Roadblock, Superstar Ken, Beauty Secrets Barbie, plastic dolls for kids to accessorize in cotton casual or evening splendor, cheerleader or pajama party, with sunglasses, high heels, purse, helmet, machine gun, flamethrower. You could dress them up for a day at the beach or march them off to war. Societal gender expectations, each sold separately. Because dream houses and battlegrounds are not chosen but assigned to save little girls from the horrors of a plastic battlefield. And feminism. To save little boys from the horrors of the kitchen. And nonviolent conflict resolution. Because you have to fight but never cook to save the day. The difference between Barbies and G.I. Joes was simply which accessories we put in their hands. A boy could play with dolls, we were told, but only if we didn't find them beautiful. Only if we pulled the trigger and used them to kill. You couldn't put Ken in khaki shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and have him go on vacation or spend time with his kids. But if you accessorize Ken in a green shirt and backwards hat, an itchy trigger finger and an AR-15, give him a catchy name like Camouflage Ken or Killer Kyle as he rides his Barbie beach cruiser across state lines to kill a couple people. You'd finally have a toy deemed fit for a boy. You know, a real American hero. Everything might be fantastic when you're made of plastic. But when the bullets and bodies are real, the figures still lie lifeless on the ground.
a little boy still playing with his deadly toys, as white rage and toxic masculinity turn dream houses into nightmares. Fantastic when you're plastic, 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 fantastic when you're plastic.
I ain't been touched. No fingerprints tracing down my spine. No hands between thighs. No kissing with the closing of eyes undefiled I found. I'm not eager for any of the above, see. My body still bodies without touch. And it curves without strangers' eyes crossing the look in my skin. It maintains it soft without hands validating. I still smell like shea butter. I still shave my legs and underarms, and I still keep up with my upkeep, if you know what I mean. It means I take care of what takes care of me, what houses me. This temple is adorned with fine fabrics, garments, and dignity. And I'd be remiss if love didn't live here anymore only because I haven't been kissed, caressed, felt like a woman all my life. See, this womb, it holds the subconscious mind of a lady, her genius, beliefs, and emotions, and she's so deep, oceans become shallow to her. Fire stands beside her like kin, and they feel each other like no other. They're twins, and I ain't never heard about a man fondling flames to feel its warmth. All he had to do was stand beside it or before her to experience the heat. And just like that is how I want you to feel me. A little air, a light breeze, no need to be touchy-feely, see. I know you used to learn it kinesthetically, but I'd rather you just inhale me. Take all of me in. Then exhale all your thoughts of sin. I want you to feel my heat and get carried away in my wind. I really hope that you can swim in the depths of my imagination, because I'd take you to somewhere, but I don't know if that's where you headed. And I don't know if that's where your head's at or the way you like to be inside, but baby, I promise in my dreams is the safest place for you to reside. You don't want to feel my earthquake, nor my elements of surprise. You don't want to see me hurricane or take this tornado for a ride. See, I'm the rioting, rushing wind of a girl, the calm in a woman, the ease of a breeze. You wouldn't survive in my ocean. I'm gracing you this morning, and I'm going to take my stance. See, my aura, it be atmospheric, and that's more than just a feeling with your hands, more than just a dilation of your pupils or a rush of dopamine. See, my woman, it'd be more woman than any other woman you've ever seen. I'd have you full-blown crack addict, acting like a dope fiend. You be itching to change and then rushing to go get clean. You gonna need an extra 12 steps after getting one dose of me, and baby, we just getting started. And you ain't even been close to me. I have you in NA, AA, GA, every anonymous meeting. I have you wanting to change your identity and then answering to a new greeting. Probably start talking real crazy too, like asking if you could wear my last name. Have you in and out of psychiatric offices contemplating if you still sane. You gotta be careful at being so eager to touch, because I'm going to make you feel me. Now tell me if you really want it that much.
You shot him when he was walking home from Pride, just hours after you sang for your Sunday church choir. Tell me, do you know what it sounds like to die? Have you heard the song of a last breath? Felt the symphony falling from your lips? Today I'm walking home from Pride. I'm convincing strangers that my boyfriend is my brother as I write this poem on the back of an upside down rainbow flag, and I can't help but think about the air crescendoing in my lungs, how I am so afraid of dying that I hold my breath so I never have to take my last one, how the victims of the Pulse shooting thought the gunshots were beats to a song at first, how last year a gay boy from my hometown was lynched behind a church, his legs swinging like a metronome, how anti-gay organizations write songs to get more followers, how the God-given screaming gunshot of a church choir pierces each closeted gay boy's ears like nails on a cross. How you sang before you shot him. How you baptized him in his own blood for an absent God who doesn't even know his name. Tell me, do you hear it too? The sound of him taking his last breath. The sound of yours as you grip, take aim and pray. Tell me, have you ever heard the sound of a dead boy singing beneath the dirt? The orchestra of his outstretched hands praying for the conductor to finish the song already. Tell me, do you know the melody of a dying child? Do you know the octave of a mother's scream? Do you know what it's like to form your lips into the shape of another dead gay boy's name? To collect dead queers in your poems like records? To paint a target on your back and dance to the rhythm of bullets flying through the nightclub air? Do you know what it's like to make a ballad from a bullet wound? To march in parades and harmonize with the ghost of every queer boy who never came home from Pride? To hear a beat and not know if it's a bullet, a song, or your own pulse? Do you know why we love music so much? The beat reminds us that we are still alive. He was wearing headphones, you know. His music was so loud, he didn't even hear the gunshot. The boy was 16, in the third chair in his high school band. He died in his mother's arms as she held him like a note and prayed. Tell me, do you know what it sounds like to die? It sounds like a prayer, like a song. It sounds like...
This is Girls Analog to Boys by Cortez Harris. There we were, hanging around, snapping and popping double bubble, jutting tits and hips, pouting lips, sexually sucker punching these niggas, trying to make a movie out of anything that happened. Trying to stoke desire into our not yet exes, waiting for a come on which would justify our anticipation. We were armed with lust, impossibly open, unbroken, sweet, unready, and oh so pretty. There was the future, which led off to some magical thing called marriage. It seemed the world might be bigger than the circle of some boy's ashy arms, but no one reassured us. Being so young, we didn't know growing up meant more than wrapping folks in our bodies like we were blankets. Fast acting girls, glittering with unknown gifts, afraid to create anything a man couldn't imagine, desperate for a dad's validation. Wish the mothers at my church let my girls and me know how bad it hurt to be knocked up. Gave our bodies something else to want rather than brokenness and babies, thinking, of course, this is what we are made for. This is how we become women.
A German folk tale of the Pied Piper speaks of a man hired by the town to lure rats away. This man, dressed in multicolored coat, plays his flute and draws the rats in with magic. The piper is a hero of the people until they decide not to pay. A year later, he returns to the German town and uses his music to lure away the children instead. R. Kelly marries Aaliyah at the age of 15, and we sing along to Age Ain't Nothing But a Number. We find out that Aaliyah met R. Kelly at the age of 12, and somehow our opinions of him stay on the upbeat. The children's choir learns the lyrics to I Believe I Can Fly, and a flute plays somewhere in R. Kelly's home. R. Kelly calls himself the Pied Piper of R&B, and we make the excuse before we make the connection. After the first allegation, we thought it takes at least 2 notes to strike a chord. After the second allegation, we gave him 3 Grammys. After the third and fourth allegations, we ignored them simply because we just really like the songs. And all we can think about is the next family reunion. And who better to sing for our electric slide? And how else will we step in the name of love? See, a rap sheet these days isn't worth the price of the playlist at the cookout. In the German folktale, the piper lures the children away while all the adults are distracted in church, most likely singing. R. Kelly tells us he is devoting his life to the Lord, and an angel drowns out the video footage. R. Kelly hands us a hit. We give him back forgiveness. He hands us a 19-minute song, and the melody makes us forget the definition of a predator, makes us forget all the little girls of color that he wrote those songs for in the first place. And again, no one speaks up when black girls are abused. Like the better the song, the more invisible black girls become. But this time, we know exactly where the cult is in the city of Atlanta, and still the town prefers the Piper's music, almost as if entertainment is more important than the allegations, almost as if all their voices together isn't the right type of choir. And again, rape and misogyny is just another part of the culture tightly woven into harmony. And again, we learn that music is the best distraction and the worst black magic. We have taught our girls that they are everything short of a symphony. Tell me, is the music really that special? When one man's voice can sing over them all, when we can hold a note but can't hold a man accountable, when the piper is realer than any folk tale we know, and we surrender their bodies to pay the price.
The summer of bunting. The world was red, white, and blue in the summer that I was 10, the summer of bunting, the summer of New York Yankees, the summer of RC Cola and metal cans, the summer of Battle of the Network Stars, the summer of 200s, the summer of Bicentennial, the summer that my brother found out he was asthmatic and that the desert heat might help him breathe, the summer that my family moved from Cleveland to Phoenix, the summer that I met Amy Babcock, the summer that I saw Sean Cassidy posters on Amy Babcock walls. The summer that I wanted to be Sean Cassidy. The summer that my father reached into the back seat while driving and smacked me because I was singing the Kiki D part instead of the Elton John part. The summer that my father marched me into the Arizona desert to teach me how to shoot his gun. Peach fuzz still fresh on my nuts, sweat in my eyes, and my elbows locked, I wildly fired his .45 while he marshaled around leather-chested, refusing to sweat under the bake of that automatic sun. He made me shoot at everything: Reader's Digest condensed novels, his empty Coors cans, worn-out tires, my plastic cowboys in their frozen gunfighter stances, and a football helmet I refused to use. Even the occasional cactus or gopher. It didn't matter. His eyes saw nothing but targets. One Saturday, sights set on me. He bellowed, "Put your shirt back on. I don't want to listen to your mother, bitch, when you start peeling like a goddamn Gila monster, and pay attention to what you're doing. If you're not careful, you're going to put a hole in my chest the size of Tucson." I didn't yet know that red, white, and blue could be neatly folded into a triangle and placed upon a casket. I didn't yet know that Clint Eastwood was a first last breath in the death of Lady Justice, that Dirty Harry would become the unquestioned law of the land, that a sneer and a revolver and a squint and a badge would become precedent, that guilt could be seen through the crosshairs, that skin could become a trigger. Thank you.
Pastor raised her in Sunday school on how to pray, how to seek God in all things.
He even taught her how to turn the other cheek. Spoke in tongues when he prayed for her, so she knew her anointing was unique. I said the pastor spoke in tongues when he prayed on her, baptized her as she laid on her back. I can tell by the way she called on God when he delivered her. But see, church folk are having easier time saving him than forgiving her. He'll have an explanation. The devil made him do it. She'll have character defamation. She's the devil in a blue suit. It's the norm. He'll profess his sins with his mouth, give stout examples from the Bible of Samson and David and how it's a shame that him falling into temptation should lead him to damnation. Get down on his knees again to orally repent from his sins. So now he's back in the pulpit preaching the same bullshit that he don't even practice. Because in the eyes of the church, he's redeemed. It's miraculous. Because see, the pastor pastors his pastors while the sheep get passed over, even during Passover shit. Have a good laugh over it in the back with the deacons sneaking peekins at the teenage girls. They develop fast these days. They so fast now. So pastor lay his filthy hands on their ass now to pray for their salvation as he stands salutating and begins salivating, "Our Father, which art in heaven," but you can call me Daddy. "Hallowed be thy name," almost as hollow as my sinful soul. "Thy kingdom come," and I'm about to. "Thy will be done," soon as I'm done with you on earth as it is in heaven. But they're heathens, heavy breathing, sanctified demons call they semen holy oil. Stand on holy soil, praising God, trying to comfort her with a staff and rod. Odd how men of God always know how to get away with murder. Cue the violas. Oh, the irony that he can both pray for her and pray for her, commune on her hymen. So his first time in, she's like, "Take, eat, this is my body broken for you." Baptized her as she laid on her back. I can tell by the way she called on God that he was delivering her, but ain't no forgiving her because the devil made him do it and she's the devil in a blue suit. It's the norm, you see, because see, normally the church will sweep it under the rug. It's closed eyes and shoulder shrugs like what happens behind closed doors is between him, her, and the Lord, because I swear on the Bible the church can't afford no more bad publicity. Ain't nobody tithing 10% for that type of toxicity. The church is a business. So they say it's none of our business what he does with his privates and private, long as he's smart enough to hide it. He'll be back in the pulpit preaching the same bullshit that he don't even practice. Because in the eyes of the church, he's redeemed. It's miraculous.
And now you want my body, so I can birth you another pawn. Well, I made a choice long ago. I will not be subject to your God. See, my mom made my little hand raise a pro-life sign. She fought for that cause, but never for me, the one who she gave life. Yet she left me cause she loved him, but he'd visit me at night. Still she'd fight for an unborn fetus and forget about my cries. And I'll never forget the day I walked into that pee-pee clinic. The shame and fear consumed me. I knew I'd never be forgiven. And 24 hours prior, I held a gun to my temple. Just a tad ironic. It wasn't mine, it was a rental. See that gun? It was my father's. The man my mom chose. The man who wanted me silenced, and I came too fucking close. I found myself disgusted that I was losing sleep, just trying to come to terms with what I knew was best for me. While this couple that I was spawned from would take a woman's rights, kill a man in a jail cell, and say that I deserve to die. That I deserve to die. You dance for the seeds, but deprive them of water. And then when some grow, you honor their father, who then cuts them down while you look away. Still you want your flower, as long as she'll pay. Yet you care not for the flower. My body is not yours to take.
Deprive them of water, and then when some grow, you honor their father, who then cuts them down while you look away. Still you want your flower, as long as she'll pay. You dance for the seeds, but deprive them of water. And then when some grow, you honor their father, who then cuts them down while you look away. Still you want your flower, as long as she'll pay. My body, my choice. 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 My body, my
Red light, green light turns blue. That's how you know that after you, another kid gunned down by 12. Why fear the devil when we're already living in hell? Grandma ain't well, big bro needs bail, and your baby father always in and out of jail. Little kid needs shoes, don't know what to do. Little mama stand still so your soul can heal. Don't be fooled, life gets hard, sending us reflections through our scars. Deep inside my mind, morning thoughts. Coffee's on the table, mirror is God.
I smoke weed just to clear my mind. Tryna hide, gotta fly past the pain sometime. But who am I A rebel with more than one cause. It takes a lot of heart when you inspire to do it all, yeah. The ladder to the top is tall, but baby, I ain't got no ceiling, so stay the fuck out my business. Don't give a fuck about feelings. I'm slaying all of my demons. I'm to the top with my winnings, so please respect my grind. Life is hard with a depressive mind. You gotta smile though you feeling like shit inside. You gotta love though you riddled with pain. But please believe you gon' see my name hanging up in lights. I'm shining in gold. I manifest, I bless, don't give a fuck what you told. It may not be easy, but nothing worth having is. I gotta get these dividends to lead to my kids, yeah.
No codependencies, let go of memories. Look deep inside, you find the major key.
No codependencies, let go of memories. Look deep inside, you find a major key, and that's you. Don't be you.
Life gets hard.
Life gets hard.
Sending us reflections through our scars.
Reflections through our scars.
Deep inside my mind, morning thoughts.
It's more than just thoughts.
Coffee's on the table.
It's on the table, yeah, yeah.
Mirror is God.
When you know what you know, it won't stop here. When you go with the flow, then it's crystal clear. If we leave it to them, then they'll keep us red. Ain't gotta shake the dice, blessed in abundance, dear. Heard my ancestors yell, reparations near. Seen that part hit the scale, but the weight ain't clear. The film keeps it bold, there's no debating here. I can't breathe, been the latest topic, yeah. Through hoes, I see supremacy ain't stopping. No more can it be a village raised its children. Cause all I see every day is hella pride and hella killing. Time to drop these bars and get about my fucking feelings. Don't be fooled.
Life gets hard.
Life gets hard.